MicroConf is over. It has been over for quite a few days now, but I've just gotten the chance to kind of sit down and think about some of the things that happened, what we learned, and I wanted to kind of share a summary of my conclusions and the things that I learned from the conference, the things that I came out with from the conference. Now, Eric is actually traveling. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Eric! He's traveling still in Italy right now, so we haven't had a chance to kind of sit together and think about these are the things for MicroConf that each of us kind of learned and wants to focus on, and what are we going to apply realistically to the company, what not, etc. We haven't really had a chance. So this is really kind of like my raw thoughts about this. I really wanted to put it in video, both because MicroConf was built in a way where it's a 2 days conference. There's a dinner before the 2 days begin, which was kind of mingling, really nice, started to meet some people. I think there were a little less than 100 participants, like 90 something participants, which is a small conference and it has its advantages and disadvantages. I liked that it was a little more intimate. I sometimes have, a lot of people can sometimes be overwhelming, especially when it's a bunch of new people you've never talked to and you kind of have to network and reintroduce yourself every time and approach new people. It's a little exhausting for most people, I think, even though it is fun and I enjoyed it, it's a little exhausting. So the fact that there were less people made it less overwhelming, but also meant that there were less people, there were less opinions, there were less points of views. But the one thing that I did come out with very clearly from all the conversations that I've had there was that no matter what your industry is, and I wouldn't say no matter what your stage is, but no matter what your industry is, you come across the same challenges. Like everyone I talked to cared about the same things. Yeah, each company has its own niche problems, but it's mostly around, and it depends on your stage and whatever you are, a high touch or low touch type of product as far as customer acquisition. But everyone have the same issues around customer acquisition, sales/marketing. Again, depends kind of like on your model of customer acquisition, pricing, optimization of retention and monetization. Basically, every business needs to grow, and in order to do that, you need to make more money. That's like part of the growth. You need to have more customers. And the ways to make more money are either bring new customers in the door, paying customers, or keep more customers, like you have paying customers, retain them, keep them with you longer, or improve monetization so that each paying customer pays more. These are like the three levers of making more money as a SaaS, as any type of business, honestly. So it was really interesting to talk to different people from completely different niches from us and seeing that we were all kind of trying the same things. And, everyone has their own spin on it. So it was really interesting to learn different tactics, basically, from different people. So there were about 3-4 talks a day in the conference and a lot of mingling time, which was really interesting. It was just time dedicated between the talks for networking, meeting people. I hated it because, like I said, I got exhausted really fast with all of these kind of networking with people and kind of having to talk to new people. But I also loved it because it was really interesting. So like whenever there was a 7-minute networking session, I was like, okay, let's put on my brave face and go talk to people. my favorite talk was the first one of the second day by Mark Thomas. There were a lot of amazing talks. This is not to say that the others weren't, but I remember sitting down and being like, with the things that he was saying, because he was saying a lot of things that we thought about in the past and thought about doing or even did a little bit, but he gave it such a framework that I was like, okay, this makes sense now how I tie this all together with my different marketing efforts and branding efforts to actually drive results, and what are the places and the things that I need to look at to actually improve my revenue. So he talked about how to get out of a growth slump, I think. He said that there are 3 different levers to kind of growing as far as revenue goes. The first one is your qualified, there's an initial that I'm unfamiliar with, QPC. Yeah, QPC. I don't remember what the initial is, but it's basically the amount of qualified leads coming into your funnel. Basically, how many relevant eyeballs are you getting on your ads, your marketing, etc., on your product. The second would be LTV, which is lifetime value, and that includes how sticky is your product, how easy it is for customers to remove it, or how loyal they are once they start using you, but also obviously how much they pay, their lifetime value. And lastly is CAC, customer acquisition, and that talks about making your product frictionless, making getting in and onboarding super easy for your customers so that the qualified leads that you're getting in the funnel have a really easy time actually starting to use your product. And if you tie them all together, then you have the perfect formula, because you get a lot of qualified leads in the funnel, they sign up really easily, and they stay for a very long time. And they pay you, and you give them value, and you get money in return. And that's just an oversimplified, I guess, version of it, because for each lever he got deeper and deeper into it and talked about the specific things that you need to look at to improve it. So I have a lot of notes here, and I'm really excited to get more deeply into that, because we have been doing a lot of work recently with marketing to get things like more accurate and right, and there's still a lot to go, but we've been doing a lot of work to improve it, and we are doing a lot of A/B testing and work to kind of improve the amount of time that users are staying, how much they're paying, our conversion rate, different little tests in the app that after we get some data, we'll definitely do a video about it and kind of talk about the process for us. But I really like listening to him. I felt like he was tying up different threads of things that we have been doing. We've been doing this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and just tying them into a framework that makes sense. That you're like, okay, so this is what needs to happen. You know how you have the e-commerce funnel? That's very clear. You land in a product page, you add it to the cart, you get to the cart, you go to checkout, finish checkout. It's a very simple funnel. You can add a lot into it, but it's clear. It's a simple framework. I feel like what he did was give me a framework to my work of marketing and retention and improving the product in a way that would help me focus on the right things. Like, these are the things I should focus on, not because, oh, that feels right now. This is how we did it for a while, but actually by using a set of rules, a framework. And in general, I think using more frameworks and organizing things a little more is one of my biggest notes from MicroConf, because we're like a chill bootstrapped company with not a lot of employees, but the team is starting to grow, and the more you grow, the more you see the need to be able to convey why this is the decision that we are making as a company to your employees. And it's really difficult when you are working off of, I know this is right, I know the company, I know the product, I know the niche, I know this is the right decision. That's just not good enough. You have to be able to tell your employees, like, this is why we're doing this. Being able to define specific frameworks that define, these are our goals, and that's how we think we'll reach them, and let's do what we need to do to figure out if this is indeed how we reach them or not, one. And B, being able to kind of say, this is what we do as a company, and that makes it easier to say no when you need to, which is another thing for MicroConf that I came up with. Focus. Like, we've been doing a lot of refocusing on Reconvert on our main product for the past year. Super important processes that are going on in the company, where we realized, okay, some of the products that we try to create are not profitable. We can kind of keep them as a side hustle if we want to, or maybe sell them, or we'll figure it out. But Reconvert is the product of the company. So this is where we are refocusing our attention. But we still always kind of look outside to like, ooh, this is a cool idea. Maybe we should do that. And, oh, this is nice. We can get it done in like a weekend. Let's do that. And then one of the talks talked about that in MicroConf, about focus, and it kind of brought both of us back into, okay, we need to focus. We need to focus. What are our goals as a company? Like, all of these ideas that we have are cool, but what are the goals of the company? Where do we want to get to? And it's really interesting that it's November right now. I feel like the fact that it's New Year's soon is a really good time. Not because we're going to do like New Year's resolutions for the company or something like that, but because revamping, in the beginning of this year, we actually sat down and thought about our goals for 2022. And we haven't really gotten back to it too much. Like, I think halfway in, we reviewed it and we're like, okay, what do we need to change, adjust, etc. And I think what we can learn from that is to set goals that are maybe shorter time and review them more often. And a lot of people talked about OKRs during the conference, and I have an OKR ebook that was sitting in my phone for like a few months. So on the flight back I read, well, not on the flight back, I slept on the flight back, but in the airport at 4 a.m. I read the book. It's pretty short, so it's not a big deal. And I really think that this is something that we can use as a company to kind of realign everyone. Again, these are very raw thoughts. I don't know what are the right OKR implementations for us. I don't know if you guys know what OKRs, objective key results, that's OKRs. It's a method, I think, first implemented by Google, I'm not 100% sure, to set and define goals and get to them in an agile way that actually makes sense for the entire company, instead of like, let's build a 5-year plan and then a 1-year plan and make this something that takes months to get done and you forget about it. And we kind of tried to do something like that in the beginning of this year. It did really work out. A lot of the teams in the company are working in sprints. So I think that could be interesting, because OKRs can actually work really well with the sprints, because you set goals for the sprint anyway. So you could do like an overarching yearly goal and then break it down to quarters, and then each sprint would have their own OKRs as well. And then you can like kind of tie it all together as a company, work towards a common goal. So yeah, these are some completely unedited thoughts. I hope this makes sense and not like me rambling about things that I was thinking about in the conference. We also met, again, really interesting people. A lot of them do their own like marketing or sales in different ways. A lot of them were tech founders, and then like, cool for you. I can't talk tech with you, but that's awesome. Let's talk about other stuff. But basically, it was a really interesting conference. It was really fun. We did a buggy trip in Malta, which was cool. There were a lot of things that I thought about during the conference, and a lot of things that I feel like I would want to try out and implement. Some of them are smaller and some of them are bigger, so I tried to kind of talk about the bigger stuff, strategy and goal setting and those kind of things. But as far as the smaller stuff, we'll just try them out, and I'll let you know if and when we make changes in the company that have an effect. We are all about testing, I think, in 2023. We haven't set any goals yet, but that's the mindset. Testing to improve results for ourselves, for our customers, for our marketing, all of it. That's what we're gonna do this year, and we're gonna do our best to document it and actually take you with us with the lessons that we learned. I hope this was interesting, not too rambly, and I will see you in the next video. Have fun.